So my name is Ray Martin. I'm the president of Martin and Associates Insurance Services. We're located in Newport Beach. We also have an office here in Long Beach. My partner Dave Hart, and Dave is the vice president of the company. And then our specialist and IT man is behind the screen there. His name's Elliot. That's my son. Chip, wave, Elliot. What we're going to do is we're going to do about 50 minutes here of some Social Security education and a little bit of education in terms of on the topic of generating income in retirement. Because let's face it, we have no retirement unless we have what? Income, right? Without income. And that's where Social Security comes into. It's very important. So one of the things that we're going to do is I'm going to explain a little bit of the basics about Social Security. Just to be clear, we're not associated, I'm not associated, nor is Dave or Elliot, with the Social Security Administration. On Monday, however, I did spend about 2 hours with the public affairs specialist from the San Diego office of the Social Security Administration. So, and believe me, I was in a room with about 200 people, and there's so much misinformation out there about Social Security. So it was a great chance to rub elbows with actually someone inside the Social Security Administration. So these are just our addresses of our offices. So as I said, we're not associated with the Social Security Administration. This material is information purposes only, and it is not intended to be tax or legal advice. So I would recommend, before maybe choosing an option for your Social Security, is to seek out a professional consultation. And we're going to show you also near the end, if you want to have a personalized analysis done of the best way to draw your Social Security, we'll give you an opportunity for that. Compliments of Kelly and Marilyn. So this is just some of our background. We're both registered investment advisors. We have 28 years of experience. We're licensed both in securities and insurance. We pretty much have been involved in 28 years in all different types of retirement, including Social Security optimization, Medicare options. My book, Elliot? Wrote a book actually on Medicare, and we do come back and do Medicare educational classes, so we'll do that again. Income distribution strategies, pension optimization, long-term care, and pretty much all types of insurance products. Here are the Social Security basics. It was first created in 1935. It was by an act during the New Deal legislation by President Roosevelt. It was expanded in 1939 to add the survivor's insurance. So when a Social Security paying worker passed away, their survivor would receive a Social Security benefit. 1965, Medicare was added. 1972, Supplemental Social Security was created. That's SSI. Supplemental Social Security is for disabled workers or the blind or children, minor children of Social Security workers. Here's a little story, a really interesting story that the lady Yolanda from the San Diego office of Social Security shared with me, that they had a woman come in, a young woman come in, and her boyfriend, who was age 22, was killed on a motorcycle accident, and they had a 2-year-old daughter together, and she came in and applied for a Social Security benefit for her daughter. And they had to deny the benefit for the daughter because this young man, even though he had worked since he graduated from high school, he was always working and getting paid cash under the table and never had paid into the Social Security system. So the way to earn your benefits in Social Security, and you'll find this out in just a few minutes, is you have to have paid in and earned what is called 40 credits. Okay, and we'll explain what those are. Anyway, to make the long story short, unfortunately, this young woman couldn't collect Social Security benefits, and all he had to do was earn $6,200 and claim that to the Social Security Administration, and that child would have received Social Security benefits until age 18. So it was really kind of a sad story, but it also shows the importance of why we pay into the Social Security system. Today there's 43.9 million people or workers on Social Security, receiving Social Security benefits. Okay, we have 10.7 million disabled workers, 6 million survivors of deceased workers. The maximum amount possible, that means if you paid in and paid taxes into the Social Security system, your entire working career, the maximum you can receive in Social Security benefits is $2,000 $644. We don't always all get that because many times when we start out in our working career, our working life, we don't reach the maximum taxable for Social Security benefits. Here's a little interesting chart. What this shows is it shows a married couple who are age 65, at least one person has a 25% chance of reaching the age of 97. At least one person has a 50% chance for a married couple of reaching the age of 93 today. Females age 65 have a 25% chance of reaching the age of 96, or a 50% chance of living to age 89. And males age 65 have a 25% chance of reaching age 93, and 50% chance of reaching age 87. So we're all living longer, and therefore it's much higher probability that even if we start collecting Social Security, we could spend 20, 25, 30 years receiving Social Security benefits. So how we claim, when we claim, and how much we're going to get becomes very important. And by the way, if you could just hold your questions, we have a pretty large group today, which is fantastic. We love the interest in this subject. But if you could hold your questions to the end, we'll definitely get those questions. And Dave and I will also stay around longer, so if you have personal questions, you can come and ask. This is the break even. People always ask, well, Ray, should I draw Social Security early or should I wait? Which is better? And wouldn't it be better to draw it early, or how long would it take to make up that money? What's the break-even point? So the break-even point, if you'd wait, full retirement age today is what age? 66. Exactly. Used to be 65. Congress changed the law, and so gradually the full retirement age is increasing for Social Security. Today it is at age 66 in a few months. So what is the break-even point? If I start drawing at age 66 versus age 62, how long must I live before I get more money in Social Security if I live beyond age 66, if I take it at age 66? And that age is 78. So if I draw Social Security at age 66, at 62, I'm sorry, at age 66, I wait till age 66, I would have to wait or live at least age 78, and then it would have been a good thing for me to have waited till age 66 to draw. What about between age 66 and age 70? So age 70 is the oldest, that's the latest you can delay your Social Security benefits. So at age 70, if you wait to draw at age 70, you have to live to at least age 82 and a half. And then you would have collected far more by waiting until age 70. Now, we can't all wait. Some of us have to draw Social Security earlier and for other reasons, and we'll talk about those. Dave, did you want to add anything to that?
No, just basically, if you did decide to wait and you did get to 82 and a half, you'd be glad that you left Social Security and took the payments at 70, because you're going to get a higher payment than for the rest of your life. So that's why, but we've got to take a lot of things into consideration whether you can delay Social Security.
Yeah. By the way, everyone understood what Dave said. He's from England. But we'll forgive him for that, though, right?
Not Australia.
So here's the rules of Social Security. First of all, Social Security calculates your 35 highest earning years. And what they do is if you've had 0 years, if you work beyond 35 years, they drop off those 0 years or those lower earning years. And they only calculate the highest 35 years of your earnings history in order to calculate your Social Security benefit. How many have gone onto the Social Security website and generated this report? Okay, pretty good. About 25, 30% of the folks that are here. I highly recommend that you go to the Social Security website, even if you're not planning on drawing Social Security right now. Highly recommend that you go to the Social Security website and register. Why? Because if you register, even if you don't want to draw Social Security right now, you can put a block on your Social Security account. What that means, it means that it will prevent identity theft. Because it is possible for people, because here's why. When you go to register for the Social Security website, Guess where they're taking the questions from? They're going to ask you security questions in order to register. Guess where they're taking them from? Anyone? Your credit report. Is it possible someone could get a hold of your credit report? If they have your credit report, they could go onto the Social Security website, put in your Social Security number, answer your security questions, and they would have access and could redirect your Social Security check to them. So what you can do is you go onto the Social Security website. It will ask you the security questions from your credit report. You can then, you're not planning on drawing Social Security, you can then put a block so that no one can have access to it. The only way you can unblock it is if you personally go down to the Social Security office. So I would highly recommend you do that. The Social Security website is just simple www.ssa.gov. Not .com, but gov.gov. Okay. Dave, anything to add for that? Okay.
Good advice.
Yeah. And that was, by the way, I got that bit of advice from Yolanda, who is right from the Social Security office in San Diego. Okay. So what happens, though, if you draw Social Security early? The earliest you can draw Social Security is what age?
62.
62. At age 62, you get a permanent, underline the word, you get a permanent reduction in your Social Security benefit. So it is a reduction of 25% over what would be your full retirement age benefit. Each year you wait beyond age 62, that reduction is slightly less. So it goes from 25 to 20, 13, 7, and then age 66 is full retirement age. You can collect your full benefit. Now, what happens if you wait beyond age 66, full retirement age? Each year you wait beyond full retirement age, you receive an 8% increase in your benefits. Now, if you had money that let's say you draw Social Security and you decide, well, I'm not going to spend it, I'll just put it in an investment. If you put it in the bank, how much is the bank going to pay you? How much? 1%, maybe? 0.5%? Where can you go and put that money and earn 8% guaranteed? So if you can delay your Social Security benefits, you get that automatic 8% every year increase.
Plus cost of living.
Plus cost of living. Thanks, Dave. Yeah. Okay, so at age 70, now you're receiving a 32% increase on your full retirement age benefit of your Social Security benefit. So what are some of the considerations for delaying Social Security? So here's some of the reasons you might want to delay. One is that you're going to continue to work, even part-time, past full retirement age. You enjoy what you're doing. I think I remember George Burns, remember the actor? George Burns said, if you love what you do for a living, you can live to 100. And then he was smoking his cigar at age 99. Longevity. How is your health? That's an important consideration. Do you have serious health conditions? If so, you might want to draw Social Security early. If you're in great health and you run, 5 miles every week and you don't smoke and you don't drink, and your mom and dad lived into their late 90s, then you might want to consider waiting. Your financial situation. Sometimes people they have to. They because of their health, they just have to retire and they have to start drawing Social Security at age 62, 63, 64. And also your financial situation. What other financial assets do you have available? If you have IRAs or investments in mutual funds or stocks or bonds and things like that and other sources of income, you have to realize that once you start drawing Social Security, that you can earn more money, and I'll talk about that in just a minute. But you might want to consider drawing income from other sources, which allows your Social Security to continue to accumulate delayed retirement credits. And Dave's going to explain a little bit more about how to use other income to allow your Social Security to continue to grow. And also other considerations like your marriage situation. Are you married? If so, and then what is the difference between the ages of the spouses?
Just one of the techniques we use is that, it's been a bit sexist, but men usually have the higher earners, wage earners. So it's usually one of the techniques we use is that we delay the male till he's 70. And the reason we do that, if you ever go into a nursing home, it's full of 80% it's women in nursing homes. So if we actually delay the husband until he's 70, then he gets a much higher amount for Social Security. And again, we pass away first. It's just, you know, again, if you go into nursing homes, 80% of those are women. So when the husband passes away at 70 or older, he's leaving a much larger amount to his spouse then. So that's one of the techniques we use, is actually delaying the husband's Social Security to leave a much larger amount there.
Yep. Yeah, good point. Because keep in mind, when one spouse passes away, up until that point, you're collecting how many Social Security checks? 2. Once that's one spouse passes away, you're only collecting 1 Social Security check. Okay, so what happens now, because there's this rule, there's a penalty or there's a deduction. If you start to draw Social Security early and you're earning income, Social Security is going to reduce your benefit. After you've earned more than $16,000, so this, after you've earned more than $16,920, for every $2 you earn, Social Security takes away $1 in benefit. So that's another reason to keep in mind. It may not even be, it may be a moot point, it may not even be worth your time to draw Social Security early if you're getting other income, because Social Security is just going to take that benefit away. And then in the full retirement year, so that means the year you're going to turn 66, for every $3 you earn, they take $1 away when you go over $44,000 a year. Now here's the good thing. After full retirement age, so after age 66, you can earn as much money as you want and there's no reduction from Social Security. You could be earning $1 million a year and you're still going to get your full Social Security benefit. However, there's still going to be what? Taxes, and we'll get into that. So how is Social Security earned? How do we earn it? First of all, we have to earn what are called 40 credits. It used to be that there was quarters. Now it's credits. 1 credit is $1,300. So $1,300 equals 1 credit. So if I earn in a year $1,300, I earn 1 credit towards my Social Security benefit. In order to, the maximum number of credits you can earn in a year is 4. And that is $5,200. So remember the story about the 20-year-old kid, 22-year-old boy who got killed on the motorcycle? All he had to do was to have paid these 4 credits into the Social Security Administration, which would have only taken him about 1.5 years, and to declare that income, and that child would have received Social Security disability for the rest of their, well, until they were adult. So that's how we earn those Social Security credits. Now, we also have to pay into the Social Security tax up to, I think the amount is how much this year? $127,000. So our first $127,000 of income is used to calculate how much Social Security tax we pay. That also determines what your Social Security check amount is as well. So benefits are calculated over the top 35 years. So if you have maybe worked only 25 years, then you're going to have some 0 years, which are going to bring down your Social Security income. So, but what makes Social Security the cornerstone of income for Americans? Well, number one is that it's paid for life. So your Social Security benefit never ends. If you live to age 90, 95, 100, 110. By the way, any idea how many Americans today are age 100 and receiving Social Security? Over 51,000. People over the age of 100 receiving Social Security benefits. And I've seen projections from demographic pundits that predict that in the next 30 years we'll have over 1 million Americans over the age of 100. The other part about Social Security is that it continues for the life of a surviving spouse. So if my Social Security benefit is $2,100 a month, and my wife, let's say she stayed home for a number of years, raising the family, having kids, and taking care of the home, and so her Social Security benefit is only $600, and mine is $2,100. If I pass away before her, she receives my Social Security check of $2,100 for the rest of her life. That is the survivor benefit under Social Security. The other part about Social Security, which is so great, is that it is inflation adjusted. So there is a cost of living, a COLA, added to Social Security each year since 1935, since it was created. Now there was 2 years where the Congress actually announced that there was going to be no cost of living increase. That was 2009 and 2010. So that was right in the depths of the severe recession that we had. But the increases are still coming. I think for 2018, I believe it's 1.3%, something like that, for an increase in Social Security benefits. And it is tax efficient. So not all of your Social Security benefit is taxable. Whereas, how many here have a pension from another job where they're getting a guaranteed pension? Okay, so about 10 people. Okay, so that pension, when you receive that pension, is that taxable or not? Yes. How much of it is taxable? All of it, exactly. When you get a Social Security check, however, it's not going to be 100% taxable. So it's tax efficient, and I'll explain the numbers in just a second. And it is also backed up by a government promise. Now, some people might say, well, gosh, that's not worth much these days. But in reality, our government has never defaulted, and so the government has the power to do two things. They have the power to increase taxes and also what? Print money. Okay, so continuing on, so just, what would be the lifetime value of a Social Security check? So let's say I'm getting $2,000 a month, and the average cost of living increase during my lifetime is 1.7% annual cost of living increase. Well, in 10 years, I would receive $259,000. In 15 years, $400,000. 20 years, I'd receive $566,000, and over 25 years, $739,000. That is a lot of money that is paid out by the Social Security Administration. That's fantastic, isn't it? I mean, that is really a fantastic benefit. So here's how the delayed retirement credits work. So do you need to draw benefits at full retirement? That would be one question to ask. Do you want to continue working? So the delayed retirement credits are 8% per year, as we kind of described before, and those continue all the way until age 70, and then at age 70 you can draw Social Security, but you continue to get cost of living increases. So that 8% stops, but you continue to get the 1.7%. Okay, so spousal benefits are basically, in this case, usually women have a lower benefit because they took time off, have children, raise the kids, provide for elderly parents. So the spouse, if you have, let's say, going back to the case with my wife and I, let's say I have a $2,200 a month Social Security benefit, but because my wife had to take off time from work to raise the family, hers is only $500. Well, when she gets to full retirement age, under Social Security, it allows the spouse to receive 50%. So it means she doesn't collect just her Social Security check of $500. She would get half of mine. So how much would she get? $1,100. That would be her spousal benefit for her entire life. And then, of course, if I pass away before her, she would then collect my full Social Security benefit. So, how do you claim Social Security? Well, there's about 567 different ways to claim. If you figure that out, I mean, you can start at age 62, you go all the way up to age 70, and then you've got husband and wife, in many cases, spouse. So now you've got that times 2, that's 18, and there's a lot of rules when it comes to Social Security. So which one do you choose? And by the way, the Social Security Administration they are understaffed and overworked. And if in case you didn't know it, they're now closing their offices on Wednesdays at noon. So they are, and it was an interesting thing because there's 60,000 employees at the Social Security Administration. 40,000 of them are retirement age. 40,000 of the 60,000. So they're going to be hiring they're going to be hiring college kids to come in and try to explain Social Security. So a lot of the time, so you have to be careful. I mean, they try their best, but the rules and regulations are very, very complicated. So, it says here on the Social Security website, in 15 minutes you can calculate what's the best way to draw your Social Security. And so they actually provided a formula. So you might want to write this down. Here's the formula for calculating your Social Security. It says in 15 minutes you can figure out how much your Social Security benefit will be. You ready? Here's the formula. That's just a joke. So going back to my other my other comment earlier, go to the Social Security website and generate your earnings history. Now, if you want a personalized analysis of your Social Security benefits, Dave can do that. We're going to offer that at the end as a complimentary service for everybody who was able to attend today. Now, Roosevelt said this about Social Security. He said that I promise the American people that you will not be taxed on Social Security. It is not intended to be a tax resource. Well, in 1983, sorry, this is kind of cut off at the top, Congress discovered that Roosevelt had died. Holy smoke, you mean he died? Wow, we didn't know that. And so what they did is in 1983, Congress changed the law and allowed up to 50% of our Social Security benefits to be taxed. That's not fair, is it? That's a tax on a what? On a tax. Well, they thought in 1983, well, 50% is good. In 1993, they decided, well, gosh, if 50% is good, we're going to even increase that to 83%, 85% of your Social Security is taxable. Now, there's a formula, so you can go to your tax preparer or your CPA, and they don't take 85% of your Social Security away in tax. 85% of it is taxable. Okay, so there's a lot of people who have lower income, they don't pay any tax on their Social Security. But if you have higher income, you probably will. These are just some of the base amounts, and we're going to try to provide some of these slides. Kelly, I think we'll do that for our audience. So I'm going to kind of skip through some of these rather than going into too much detail, because we'll provide you the slide that you can look at these at a later time. So here's an important subject. So when we talk about Social Security, we're talking about income. And so why has running out of money become such a huge issue for the baby boom generation? Well, we all have to calculate this. We're kind of on our own to figure all this out. We've got different things that we can choose from. We've got Social Security, but we may have investments. We might have a 403B or a 401K, or we have savings accounts, or like the 10 people who are here, they're going to get a pension. So here's some of the things to consider, is that to stay retired, we need a reliable and sustainable source of income. And to preserve our standard of living, you also need to have increasing income. So our income needs to increase. And that's the great thing about Social Security, is because of those cost of living benefits, Social Security does continue to increase over time. Now, this is what it used to look like, okay, for our parents' generation, or for some of those lucky 10 that are in here. We'd have our savings and investments, which would be our 403B or our 401K or our IRAs, or 457 plan for federal employees. And then we'd have a pension, right? We'd have that pension from Boeing or Hughes Aircraft. My dad worked for Hughes Aircraft Company, and he had a nice pension that he received. And then we'd have Social Security. So we had like 3 legs to generate income in retirement. That was for our parents' generation. Today, it more looks like this. We have Social Security, and then we have what we've saved. Okay, and that's where generating additional income to supplement, to add to our Social Security, becomes so important. So we're going to offer, as part of our little class, our educational program, that if you, how are we going to do that, Dave?
We should do this if you're over the age of 55, it's worth getting an analysis done on Social Security. And the reason why, if you're under the age of 55, it may change by the time you become eligible for Social Security. They could do a lot of changes, because Social Security will actually run out in 2034 unless they do some changes. So, but if you're over the age of 55, the way they look at that is it's too late for you to make changes financially for yourself and put more money away for retirement. So if you're over the age of 55, there'll be no changes. You'll be grandfathered in. Under the age of 55, so many changes. So it's not worth having an analysis done if you're under the age of 55. So Anybody above that, feel free to email us and we'll take care of that for
Okay,
you.
you'd need this.
Yes.
Yeah, the earnings history in order to have the personalized analysis done. Okay, great. Thanks, Dave. The other thing about the Social Security Administration I will tell you about is they've got some great publications. You can go to the ssa.gov website and put in one of those little search, the little search button they've got at the top, do the search, look up publications. Here's one publication they've got, Medicare Premiums, Rules for Higher Income Beneficiaries. So for individuals making more than certain levels of income, they pay an increased amount in Part B premiums for Medicare. That is a great little booklet you can get from the Social Security Administration, and they'll mail it to you, or you can actually just upload it as a PDF on your computer. Another great little book, which for all the ladies in here is really important. It's called The 5 Things Every Woman Should Know About Social Security. They don't have a book about the 5 things men should know. I don't know why. But it's a book just like this, and actually I've got just a synopsis of the booklet right here is a little article, and if you raise your hand, Elliot will come around. We have copies of this, and Elliot will hand that out to you. Ooh, we got a lot. Okay. Okay, if you don't get one, just let Elliot know. We'll email it to you later today. Okay, so this is just what the analysis looks like here. It just shows the break-even point, and it shows you how to maximize the amount of Social Security benefits that you'd take. And there's no obligation for us to do that for you. So what I'd like to do right now is kind of switch gears for a moment. I'm going to hand things over to Dave, because a lot of people come to us and ask us, okay, well, I'm going to get Social Security, but okay, I've got this 401k rollover, an IRA rollover, or I've got a retirement account, or I've got these stocks and bonds. Well, how can I combine that in the most efficient way with my Social Security? Or they may say, well, okay, I want to delay my Social Security, but how do I generate income if I'm going to retire? So I'm going to have Dave explain a little bit about what we call sequence of income, sequence returns. How many here have 401ks? Okay, about 25%. How about 403bs? Okay. How about 457? Okay, one. How about just regular IRAs? Any Roth IRAs? Okay, few Roth IRAs. Great. That's great. So we've got a very sophisticated audience. It seems like you're all participating in ways to build towards your retirement. So I'm going to let Dave talk just briefly here about sequential returns and how to generate additional guaranteed income in retirement. Dave?
Yeah. Wonderful. I'm just going to jump back to Social Security. There's a benefit that we didn't actually discuss, and that's called a restricted payout. And that's one of the main benefits left with Social Security now. So if you was actually born before 1954, January the 1st, 1954, or on January the 1st, 1954, you're able to still take advantage of one of the benefits. And the benefit is actually if you become full retirement age, 66, and you have a spouse who's maybe, she's reached 62, 63, what you're able to do, you're able to actually do a restricted application on your Social Security. What this allows you to do is apply for your Social Security and actually stop that and let your Social Security grow till you're 70, but it allows you to have a spousal benefit based on your wife's Social Security. It's free money. So you can actually restrict your benefit, allow it to grow 8% every year till you're 70, and then you can take 50% of your spouse's benefit if she takes her benefit. And again, it's free money by doing that. So if you was actually born before 1954, January the 1st, you were able to take advantage of this. After that, they've taken this away. So,
government giveth and government taketh away.
Yeah, and file and suspend went. That was another free money technique that we used to use, and they took that away as well. So let's get to sequential returns. So first of all, we talked about the defined benefit. We talked about the pensions. 84,000 companies did away with defined benefit plans. 84,000. Why would they do that? Because there was guaranteeing you a pension when you retired. Why would they do away with a defined benefit plan? Any idea? Who's taking all the risk in a defined benefit plan? The company's taking all the risk because they're obligated to pay a pension out to you for the rest of your life. So what they did away with that, and they created a 401k. And who's taking all the risk with the 401k? You're taking all the risk now. So you've got to make that money last throughout your retirement. So this is why we talk about this. The number one, and this is the number one reason why people actually run out of money, is because of sequential returns. We will send this out on email, but sequential returns is basically once you start taking income from an investment, like a 401k. So once you start taking income from this is just showing you two different portfolios. At the top here, they've started off really badly. They've lost 12%, they've lost 21%, and they've lost 14%. Happened in year 2000. And on this one, they've started off well. They've made 29%, 18%, and 25%. Now, what's happened here, we've just flipped this upside down. So it's just been flipped upside down. So although they lost 12, 21, and 14, on this side, they finished by losing 12, 21, and 14. So it's just basically flipped upside down. Both portfolios made 8%. They both had exactly the same dollar amount. It doesn't matter where you move these gains on this, no matter where you move them, they'll always end up with 8%, and they'll always end up with the same dollar amount. But look what happens when you start taking income from your 401k. So this is, again, the first one. We've started to take income from the 401k, which I think it's $25,000 a year plus inflation. This one started off badly. This one started off well. This one's finished well, and this one's finished badly. But look at the difference. The first one is run out of money by 81. And the second one, who started off well, has got over $2.5 million there. For the simple reason, once you started taking income, the years that you started off was bad years and you lost money. So why would the first one run out of money? Well, if you're taking 5% and all of a sudden your investment goes down, you're no longer taking 5% from that investment. Now you're taking 7% or maybe even 8% to retain the same type of income that you need. And your portfolio cannot recover from this. It's simply impossible for it to recover. If it goes down 50%, how much does it have to go back up again to get your money back? Got to go back 100% to get your money back if it goes down 50. If your portfolio goes down 30%, it's got to go back up 43% just to get your money back in your investment. So if it goes down and you're taking an income from that, it's just impossible for your portfolio to recover. And this is the number one reason why people run out of money in retirement. So what generates income? And there's only three things: Social Security, defined benefit plan, and annuities. So I'm just going to give you a brief. We've only got 15 minutes now. I'm just going to give you an idea how annuities work, because there's so much misinformation out there on annuities. So we have 4 different types of annuities. We have the immediate annuity. The immediate annuity is where you hand your money over to the insurance company. They will guarantee you payments for the rest of your life. But if you die early, what happens? They keep your money. You know, your money's gone. We call that committing a annuicide when you do that. You know, we don't usually. So in some situations, it's okay. But in most situations, it's not the best plan. Okay, variable annuity. A lot of teachers have got variable annuities. We come across it all the time. You know, some people say it's the worst investment of all time. I don't think these are the worst investment. I think it's just appropriate. And variable annuities are appropriate for some people, but most people, they're not. They've got very, very high fees. They've got a lot of market risk. Restrictions on your investments there. They make you invest a lot in bonds there. And one of the fees is called a mortality and expense fee. It's an M&E fee. And what that is, it's actually a life insurance. So it actually gives you a guarantee. And what the guarantee is, to say, if the stock market goes down and you've got a variable annuity, your M&E charge, your mortality and expense, will guarantee we will return your investment to your initial investment, what it was. So if it goes down 50%, the M&E charge says we will return it to 100% of what you started with. But the only trouble is, if you lose your retirement money in a variable annuity and you want to get your retirement money back, it's a life insurance they provide. So what have you got to do to get your retirement money back? Die. Can you see a problem with that? You've got to die to get your retirement money back. So a lot of clients don't think that's the best idea. So that's how the variable annuity works. But again, you know, although it says the worst investment, I think it's appropriate for some people, but most people know. You've got a fixed annuity or fixed like CDs. You know what CDs are. We've already discussed this earlier on. CDs are paying 1% if you're lucky, and then you've got to pay tax on that. And also you have a fixed annuity as well. And the fixed annuities give you they give you a guarantee, maybe 2%, 3% over a certain period, maybe 5 years, 7 years, 10 years. The longer you're in there, the higher they actually give you. And then this is the one that's most popular. It's called a fixed index annuity. Fixed index, it says no fees, so there's no fees like the variable annuity there. The variable annuity's got like 3.4% fees on the variable annuity. The index annuity, it's designed different. It's like a hybrid between like a savings account and an investment. It's not an investment, but it's like a hybrid of this. So let's have a look at let's see how this actually works.
Just so that you know, annuities have been, the word annuity is like a dirty word in a lot of places, because you've got the financial industry, which is really Wall Street, and if you talk to someone on Wall Street, which we'll explain a little bit later, they may not even know how fixed annuities work. And so there's a lot of misinformation out there about annuities. Most people don't even understand what they are, how they work. So, but just so that you know, if someone went, did you hear about the lady in Massachusetts who won the lottery? Yeah. She won how much? Like $750 million or something like that, just by herself. Well, when someone wins the lottery, guess how they're paid? They're paid through an annuity. So the state buys an annuity with an insurance company, which then pays that person the money. So a lot of times we don't think about, well, where does that money really coming from? So annuities have been around for 100 years, but there's a lot of misinformation about them. But the fixed indexed annuity is a hybrid. It came out about 20 years ago. And I'll let Dave explain further.
Yeah, we'll show you an example of a fixed index so you actually see how these actually work. So this one's what you call a participation rate on this, which means you get 50% of whatever the S&P 500 does. So let's have a look at an example here. So, and again, you shouldn't put all your money in this investment. You should be diversified, but this is kind of an area for your safe money. So an example, in 2000, the year 2000, the S&P was at 1,000 points. You got $100,000. The S&P goes up 20%. You don't get 20% because you've only got a 50% participation in this. But what you do get, you get 10%. Does the stock market always go up? No, we've seen what happened in 2008 and 2000. So let's say the stock market goes down. The stock market goes down 25%. Now the difference with the index annuity is that if you was in an investment and the stock market goes down 25%, now you'd only have, it goes down to 900 points. Now in the annuity, you'd have $110,000. The reason why is because the annuity locks your gains in for you. Once you've participated in the gain, it is locked in and you can never lose that again. Your investment would be down to $90,000. So in the annuity, you lose zero. You don't make any money. What's more important sometimes in retirement is that we don't lose any money. So again, the stock market goes up 12%. You get 50% of the whatever the gain is. You actually make 6%. So now the annuity's got 117 and your investment's got 101. Okay, so the market goes up 20 again. You get 10%. So now your annuity's worth 128 and your investment's worth 121. You haven't taken any market risk in the annuity here. So this is the difference between the different annuities there. The variable one, which is, as you know, variable and fixed, just like the mortgage, the variable goes up and down. The fixed one has got the guarantees in there. And I think we've, just click on, I think we've actually got a guarantee of a statement from an annuity company. Is it on there? So this is actually from a company called American Equity, and this is one of their statements from the past. And this is going back to from 1998, and they produce this every single year. And the blue line on there, for the ones who can see this, is a guarantee on this. That's the minimum guarantee on this. The red line here is the S&P 500. So as we see here, the S&P 500 goes up, and it's got called an annual reset. That means every single year they lock your gains in for you. So the S&P 500 goes up to 120. You don't get the entire amount of the S&P 500, but you get a portion of that, so you got 115. S&P 500 goes up again. You don't get all of that, but you get a portion of that, and it locks your gains in. Can you see what happened in 2001, 2002 when the market crashed? There again, we just level off. We don't make any money, but we don't lose any money here. The S&P 500 starts to increase again. We increase with the S&P 500. Every year it locks the gains in for you. Again, we've got to the point in 2008. S&P 500 goes down again. We don't make any money, but our gains are actually locked in there. So that's the difference in the annuities. And this is the, do you want to click on? And again, the moral of the story is not losing money is more important than actually making money, especially in retirement. Zero is sometimes your hero there. You want to take over on this?
Okay. Yeah, so there's, we're a little bit short of time here. Just to kind of cover some key points is that there are guarantees, as what Dave was explaining. These types of financial strategies can actually generate guaranteed income for life, like your Social Security or like a pension. Again, not to put all your money in one place, never recommend that, but it may be something to consider. There's been some studies done on it. There's been a lot of publications. Do we have the sound, Elliot, for this little clip?
Should be on.
Okay, let me keep our fingers crossed and hope this works here.
So Tom, there are a number of different retirement income strategies that are being used today, and I can think of no better advocate for the flooring approach than you. And I think you have some very strong feelings about systematic withdrawal approaches and other approaches that don't involve guaranteed income of some sort. So go ahead. Let's hear.
Well,
your
David, I mean,
case.
I'm not going to give you my opinion. I'm going to give you the mathematical, scientific, and economic facts. You cannot retire properly without having some form of an annuity in your portfolio. I mean, those are just the facts. And here's why. There are a lot of risks in retirement. There's market risk, there's order of return risk, there's inflation, there's deflation, you might need long-term care, you might die. There's a lot of risks in retirement. But there's only one number one risk in retirement. The number one risk in retirement is longevity risk. And here's why. Because longevity is not just a risk. It's a risk multiplier of all those other risks. Now, what am I talking about? Well, if you retire at age 65, and 3 years later you drop dead at age 68, does it matter if the market went down 3,000 points? Nope. Does it matter if you were drawing 10% a year? Nope. Does it matter if you forgot to buy a long-term care policy? Nope. It doesn't matter. You didn't live long enough. But if you live to be 85, 90, or 95, it's all those other risks that can wipe you out. So what math and science says is you have to take longevity risk off the table. That's why you have to use a flooring approach. See, stocks can't take longevity risk off the table. Managed money can't take longevity risk off the table. Bonds can't take longevity risk off the table. Only some form of an annuity, a lifetime income annuity, or a deferred lifetime income annuity, which we could call a longevity insurance, or an income benefit rider off a variable annuity or fixed annuity. That's it. But they're all tied to an annuity. And here's why. Because only a life insurance company can write an annuity. Why? Because a life insurance policy issues life insurance. See, the risk when an agent writes a life insurance policy is that somebody dies too soon. The risk when they sell a lifetime income annuity is that somebody lives too long. Because the insurance company is on both sides of that risk, they can neutralize longevity risk to themselves and to the client. Let me explain it this way. I spoke last year in Singapore for the $1 Million Roundtable, and I got interviewed by Asia Insurance Review, and they said, Tom, we've reviewed all your material and we're very concerned about U.S. life insurance companies that guarantee lifetime income. I said, really? They said, yes. We believe that medical technology is developing so rapidly that people are going to live to be 100, 120, 150 years of age, and if you're guaranteeing paychecks for life, you're all going to go broke. And I just smiled and I said, you got it half right. You're right. We will be paying a lot of lifetime income, but we won't be paying any death claims. See, because we're on both sides of that risk, we're the only industry in the world that can take longevity risk off the table. See, stocks don't know when you're going to die. Bonds don't know when you're going to die. CDs don't know when you're going to die. But essentially, a lifetime income annuity does, because it pays you a guaranteed paycheck until the day that you die. See, if you don't follow my strategy, let's say and the strategy is very simple. You've got to cover their basic expenses with guaranteed lifetime income. Now, what counts? Social Security counts. Social Security is a lifetime income annuity. Pension counts. It's a lifetime income annuity. But whatever that shortfall for covering their basic expenses needs to be covered with a lifetime income annuity. That is not a place for stocks or bonds or withdrawal plans or anything. It's got to be a lifetime income annuity, because none of those other products can guarantee you a paycheck for life.
Okay, well, I think because we're kind of running up on time here, I think I'm going to open things up for some questions and answers about Social Security. Any questions we had on our topic of Social Security? Great question. So just so that everybody can hear this question in the back, so what was your name? Jean. So Jean took 4 years off because she was taking care of an elder parent. During that time, she had zero income, so she had some 0 years. However, Jean's worked a total of 40 years, Jean? total of 40 years. So when Social Security goes to calculate Gene's income, those 0 years are going to get dropped off because they're only going to take the 35 highest earning years. Great question. Yes, right there. Yes, in the back. Okay, yeah. Again, we can do an illustration for you. Dave can run an illustration, but basically there's what is called a windfall elimination provision. You can actually go to the Social Security website and actually get material on this. So what happens, and maybe some of you have heard about this, is that if you worked in the private sector for a short time or for a while, and then you went and worked for the county as a teacher or the state, then you can't collect both. Have you heard of that? You can't collect both. Well, it's right and it's wrong. There is actually a chart here that if someone has worked in the private sector, and this is a chart published by the Social Security Administration, if you work for 20 years or less, and then you have a private a pension through a government entity, like through the school teachers or through the county government or state government, you're only going to get 40% of your Social Security income. You don't collect 100%. And then it goes up from there. So if you work 25 years, you would collect 65% of your Social Security. And if you worked 30 years or more, you'd still be able to collect 90% of your Social Security plus your private pension. Does that answer your question? Yeah. And I would recommend going to the website and looking up this document. And it's called the Windfall Elimination Provision. Dave, you want to?
Yeah, you know, it kind of, everybody's different. Every situation is different when you should start. Some of these annuities have got income riders on there where if you can delay them and defer them for so many years, it makes a huge difference. So some of them, the earlier you get into are better. But what we do a proper financial plan for you, and we look at your situation. And I mean, we're not saying an annuity might be the right fit for you, but you know, if it is, then we'll find out the 60 different companies out there. We'll find the right one for you. And then we'll design it to fit in with your retirement plan. So every situation is different, and every single company is different. We never know which company is going to be the best one for you. It's all tailor-made to your situation on that. But we'll certainly help you, have a look around. We do a proper income plan for people. We've got a retirement analyzer software which we use, and we do a proper income plan for you, so you can see if you don't have an income plan, how do you know if you're not going to run out of money in retirement? So you should always have an income plan, and we can provide that for you if you wish.
Okay. Well, I think we've run out of time, but just as a last moment comments, I just want to thank Kelly and Marilyn again for sponsoring our educational event. And as I mentioned thank you. A little applause, never hurts. We'll take that. And we'll plan to come back. If we get invited back, we'll come back. I think we're talking to Kelly. We'll come back again and maybe try to go a little bit more in depth in one topic or another. And also, I did give this flyer out. If you'd like to attend an additional, to get additional knowledge, we're going to have a complimentary, a free financial workshop coming up on September 16th. And we serve also a complimentary buffet breakfast. It's held at the Crown Plaza Hotel right in Costa Mesa. It's a wonderful breakfast and a great time to get some education and get more of your questions answered. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a great day, and we'll stick around if you have questions.